Welcome to Visions of Our People, where we feature brothers and sisters who have followed their vision to build businesses, institutions, or services that serve, profit, and uplift our community. Listen as we share the ideas, experiences, and skills that help to shape their unique stories of commitment, perseverance, and triumph. Be inspired and catch your vision on Visions of Our People. Now, here's our host.
Pamoja Tuta Shinda, brothers and sisters, together we will win. Today, Visions of Our People is talking with Brother James Shawki Wilson. He is the director of a nonprofit organization that goes by the name The Path from Prison to Power, which offers transformative, holistic programs to younger to older ex-offenders in rural counties in the American Southeast. Welcome to Visions of Our People, my brother. We're glad to have you as our guest.
My pleasure, brother.
We're honored to have you, my brother. I want to start off, my brother, introducing you to our audience by asking you, who is Brother James Shawki Wilson?
The best way I can answer that right now is to say that James, Shawki, two different personalities, same soul. James was developed by Lily and Lester Wilson in Beaumont, Texas, and I spent the first 17 years of my life just trying to find out how this world works. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to do the right thing, and I tried to give my best at everything and obey my parents and be a good boy. The only challenge is I couldn't get my mind around why God would make the world the way God made the world, with us having to pay with hellfire and damnation. That's no way to love anybody, I thought. So when I asked about it, I got, answers like, don't question God. And of course I would answer back, I'm not questioning God, I'm questioning you. I need to know. But nobody ever told me. But then that was just the beginning of me finding out that people really don't tell you anything in this world. I mean, it's pretty much you have to find out for yourself through your own experience. It's been that way for me. And as I became Shawki, I realized that this thing is screwed up, and it's been a bunch of lies. And the greatest thing for me was to find out how to demystify the lies, how to find out what really happened. And I found that piece through becoming a member of the Shrine to Black Madonna, where I spent some 30 years trying to develop into that guy that really yearned for right conduct, which is what my name means.
Say that again. What does your name mean, my brother?
Yearning for right conduct. A lot of people maybe deliberately tried to, or deliberately made fun of my name. But every time I said, it means yearning for right conduct, they said, oh, yes, I know you yearning for right conduct. That's a good name for you. It is a good name for me because all I want to do is have somebody tell me how this thing works, and I'll just do it. And that's the way I am about the Shrine for Black Madonna. That was my first love, maybe my only love. Shawki, James Wilson is a work in progress, and believe me, Brother K. Fiend, we're working on it.
Amen. We all are, my brother. I appreciate you sharing that with us, my brother. How did that lead Shawki to become the director of the Path from Prison to Power program?
Well, like I said, I joined the Shrine of Black Madonna in '79, and I was looking for the answer. I was looking for something to fill up the hole in my life. And as far as I was concerned, the way I felt, I found it. And after spending so many years with the Shrine, we finally raised enough money to buy a beautiful land farm project in Abbeville, South Carolina, and that's the reason I'm in South Carolina today. While I was there, I ran into a situation, it stumbled upon me at a Martin Luther King celebration that I was invited to. I went solo, responsible for myself, and I managed to get into an altercation, which landed me in the eyes of the, what you call them, the people that chase slave chasers?
Slave Patrol.
Slave Patrol. And one thing I learned about the Slave Patrol is like quicksand. You can slip in, or you can fall in, or however you get in there. Once you're in the system, it's going to do what it does. And it did what it did to me. And they told me, and I quote, "Who gave y'all the money to bring that mess down here?" And man, that's none of your damn business. Who gave us the money to do anything? What I'm here for has nothing to do with that at all. And he said, "Well, I'll tell you what, we run our own niggas down here in Abbeville County, and we just might have to send you up to Columbia. Maybe there's somebody down there that needs you." And he was right. And I left the courtroom after being found guilty, and I spent 15 years in the South Carolina Department of Correction, and then 2 years on probation, which I didn't think I could. I couldn't get probation while I was locked up, but I got it after I got out. Ain't that stuff? The experience, my young life of wanting to know Jesus, my life in the shrine, of wanting to know myself, all became challenged by this new thing. I never dreamed I would ever be in anybody's jail, let alone prison, but I managed to get both. The experience was something that I never thought I would experience, and since I had so much time, I had to figure out a way to survive it. A challenge came up that I found out about. It involved creating a program around prisons, because obviously I'm going to learn a lot about being in prison. I'll be here for 15 years. And then the sign was posted in the back of Shrine 9 that I leave you a mustard seed by which you can move mountains if you have a mind to. So I started off right away, thinking of ways to fund a program that would guarantee that the Shrines of Black Madonna would never die, the principles would never die, and the more I applied it to the prison system, the more sense it made. And I developed a serious relationship between myself and my son, Husani. He was doing some MIT studies at the time. We found out that we were both interested in aquaponics. He was a little deeper than me. He was into permaculture design. At the same time, I started a 12-year program studying Siddha Yoga, which ended up being, if not identical to Kua, the African science of rebirth. It was so familiar. I spent years studying, and I could say I was born again about 6 times in prison. And as I was developing my inner self, or my awareness of my inner self, I started trying some of the ideas out as far as transformation of men and women in prison. I tried it out as I studied Siddha Yoga. The experiment was fun. I had some real quick recruits, and pretty much I guess that was the birth of the path.
So can you explain to our listeners, my brother, what is the Path from Prison to Power program?
The Path from Prison to Power is a nonprofit that was developed while I was in prison as an incubator, as a place where people coming out of prison could come to a place that was a welcoming environment to transform into the type of person, type of human being that would be a leader in a community, a leader in a family, a leader for the nation, a man. There was so much need, and the response was so great in prison to watch men changing and watch people thirsty for the knowledge of self and willing to embarrass themselves and learn how to read in front of other people that could barely read better than them. But we had rituals. We did everything. I mean, it was scary sometimes. I almost got killed 2 or 3 times by other factions, Muslims and Rastas, that they believed in a certain kind of way that God worked and it wasn't through communalism. So I had a lot of opposition. I had some opposition. I didn't have a lot, but I got converts from them too. So like I said, I'm still in touch with most of these guys that I came out with, the ones that didn't end up being victims of recidivism or being victims of bad relationships. The Path was developed out of a need to have some place for Black people to go to develop the skill level to become the type of leadership that we need Black men to be. We're not going to get any result in the prison system or prison reform or in America, period, waiting on the system itself to deliver us. I can be that God gave us the path from prison to power. The concepts, I know that's true because the concepts came from PAOCC, it came from Siddha Yoga, it came from meditation, Kua, meditation, devotionals. It came from teachings from the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, Brother Ben, Asa Hilliard, Marcus Garvey, Booker T. Washington, Du Bois, they all had an answer. As a matter of fact, together they had the answer. And the together part is where we try to develop the path so that, and we've proven 5 years out of prison, we're all still together, waiting on this moment that we can, and today's environment is a perfect moment to launch the path from prison to power as a solution for black people's problem, period. Where we build our own houses, grow our own food, build our own schools, all the institutions that we need to survive. We're ready to do that as a group. Our infrastructure is set up. The path is living and it's moving. And we've used the little dimes and nickels that we raised. Now we've outgrown our research and development stage, and it's time to put this thing into practice. So now the path is a living, growing being, and we need the community to come in, especially those that have been trained in ATG and BTG, and you need a job now doing something that you're familiar with. We did it once before. I was there. I lived on Build Land. I had a chance to know what it felt like to name your own streets and name the buildings and actually build a building. Do everything it takes to pretend to be free anyhow. We had a slight taste of what it was like to be free, and the only thing about the taste, it never goes away. And now all we have to do is take that same memory and reapply it and become the people that we claimed we wanted to be when we started our advanced training on how to save black people. I can confidently say that the path is ready. The path is prepared to join hands with anybody and everybody to build everything, because we have nothing. So we need all hands on deck, all minds on deck.
Once a recruit joins the path, what is the process? What happens? Say if I join today, what is the program that I will be following?
The first step in the path is an ITG group, it's initiation training group, where a person comes in as a seeker. This is only for people that have a mind to. And we pretty much follow the same tenets of the core process, so we can remember what it felt like to know the Lord. So we can remember what it felt like to know ourselves.
Why is there a need for the path, and who will benefit from it?
The need is apparent because in the face of the coronavirus and gentrification and ghetto living and poverty, the path represents that solution. Fresh, clean housing, a stable environment, elder care, everything we need to be a community. Now, I'm just glad to say that we're prepared to bring black people out of darkness back into the light. Not by ourselves. I mean, in conjunction, we have Clemson hanging on. We have the University of Indiana waiting to see what's going to go on with the path. We've hooked up with organizations in Detroit and all around the country, around the world. The only thing we haven't hooked up is the money part.
My brother, when you talk about the principles and the COOL program and all that, you're talking about your experience as a member of the Pan-African Liberation Corps in the Shrines of the Black Madonna. Is that what you're referring to, my brother?
That, along with my experience studying Siddha Yoga. You
mentioned you have a relationship with Clemson University and Indiana University. What kind of relationship is that, my brother? And what does that entail?
Well, the sheriff of Abbeville County called me one night and said that his friend, who was the chair of the Department of Criminology at Indiana University, wanted to interview me, and he wanted me to tell him about the past and what the intention was and how I plan to do it fresh out of prison. And we talked. Out of that conversation, I vowed to him that I would get the counties in the South and move all the way over to Texas before we start moving north. But I take care of the southern. I do that myself. I took on a hell of a responsibility. There's no contract or anything like that. But the plan is to move from South Carolina into the immediate area, into the surrounding areas.
What will that entail? What will the path be doing as you move from the southeast over to Texas? What does that look like?
We're building training institutes wherever we go. And every place that we set up will be set up to do the transformative work that it takes to prepare a community to receive brothers coming out of prison, and prepare brothers to move into the community and take full responsibilities for the growth and development of the community. Now, we're going to do that throughout the South as we practice and then move into the rural areas. We'll move to the urban areas. But wherever there's prisons in this country, in the world, the path will actually want to get there one day if there's anybody black in it. And we won't make prison the last place they want to send black people. Since we're going to prison more than we're going to college, we set it up so that prison will become the college. And the path from prison to power will not only be on the streets and in the community, we'll be in the prisons, letting people know that there's a light that shines, and when you get to that light, the first door you come to, knock on it and step in. And from that point on, we got you. We found that the most intelligent brothers you can find in the world are locked up. Well, I mean, the most beautiful minds I've ever seen in my life. Some of them had come off of death row, but most of them were, quite a few of them will never leave prison. And one thing I have to say, one motivating factor was the fact that on our exit, they let us know that, okay, there's 1,000 people in here, or 100 people in here, or 300 people in here. 85% of you will be back. That's just the way it is.
Would you say that's by design, my brother? That, number one, a lot of the excellent minds and the energy and positive energy that could propel our community forward is in prison, is behind bars, as opposed to being in the community where they should be, being fathers and husbands and brothers
right.
and uncles and nation builders, actually building the community. They're locked up instead?
Absolutely. And they're locked up with the intention of keeping them locked up. The recidivism rate, 85%. They expect 85% to return. In the meantime, they're hiring more police officers, building more prisons, getting tough on crime again. That means we got 15% coming out that either have some kind of family affiliation, they have some friends, or they had, some of the guys with me had a business going on when they got locked up. They did their time, they got out and went back to that business, which was still flowing, and now they're more prosperous than ever. We're being wasted away, and with the intent of bringing 85% back through the door every time. It's unfair, it's evil, actually. But the demystification of the evil comes when we realize that, okay, we'll stop that right now. We'll just have a place for, all right, let's give you a heads up. They told you they expect you to come back. And for a lot of people, they never had a childhood. They never got a chance to spend more than 8 months out in the street because they just keep coming back. I have 2 or 3 of them in the organization right now. But some of the most beautiful minds you would ever want to meet are better criminals than they are anything else. Right,
because they've been trained to be criminals as opposed to being productive black men in our community by the enemy system.
Absolutely. It's a vicious cycle. It's almost a perfect conditioning machine. And with the prison thing, they don't ever expect us to recover. So we can skip asking them for prison reform. The only reform is going to come when we realize we're going to, what Dr. Todd said, we just won't go back to prison. We can do other things with our time. We can do other things with our talent. And we can do other things for ourselves and don't have to give everything to them. The program is designed to arrest all of that and demystify our enemies once and for all, the enemy inside and the enemy outside.
Brothers and sisters, you have been listening to Brother James Shawki Wilson, who is the director of a nonprofit organization that goes by the name of The Path from Prison to Power. You can support the Path from Prison to Power program by sending your donations by Cash App to $ThePathPPP, and you can email Brother Shawki at thepathfromprisontopower@gmail.com. You can also like, follow, and share the Path from Prison to Power program on Facebook at The Path PPP. And you can catch visions of our people on YouTube at Kafing Moore or on Facebook at Promote the Vision. You can support our podcast by sending your contribution to our Cash App address at $Kafing Moore. And if you would like to promote your business, nonprofit, or event on our podcast, please send your requests or comments to kafingmore@aol.com. Join us again for more Visions of Our People.
So spread your wings, don't you fall. Come down on your own. If you come down
Thank you for joining us for Visions of Our People. We hope that our stories of commitment, perseverance, and triumph have inspired you to follow your vision of creating businesses, institutions, and services that uplift our brothers and sisters, serve our community, and make us the great people that our Creator made us to be. We wish you peace and blessings, and we invite you to join us again for Visions of Our People.